Hey y'all, it's Renegade, and it's time to spill more reality as we discuss yet another episode of Survivor 46. And tonight, as well as every night, I will be joined by a member of our community draft team where we'll kiki about all the drama. And tonight, it's double trouble as we have a double tribal council, and we're going to be serving it here with two of our Waste Coasters as they make their return to the podcast. Everybody, please welcome back Callow and Painless. Callow, how you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm doing well. I'm excited to be on here and be with Mr. Painless.
And Mr. Painless, how are you doing tonight, good sir?
I'm doing good. Can't wait to discuss this episode here with y'all.
Well, it's been a hot second since y'all have been on the podcast. Cal, especially. I don't think we've talked to you in a couple episodes here. How are you feeling now that we are about 7 episodes deep, officially at our halfway point here at Survivor 46?
Yeah, I don't know how I'm feeling yet fully, or at least how to take this season. In our watch party earlier, we discussed about how I think that up until this point there was a lot of drama and that kind of fueled a lot, and so the last couple episodes have been just a little bit lackluster because of the less drama. But we have seen a lot more strategy coming out, but also with the edits it's kind of just all over the place, so I don't really know how to take the season so far.
It does really feel like a tale of two seasons at this point, where it's like we have like pre-Banu and the post-Banu. It's like the post-Banu doesn't seem yeah, it's definitely more strategic. I don't know if it's as exciting. I don't know if I've been I mean I think I was more excited last week. I think this episode kind of left me with a little bit of a maybe wanting more here. I'm thinking we're starting to maybe get to the drought a little bit and feeling maybe why things were kind of split up the way they were. Painless, are you kind of feeling the same way, or do you have a difference of opinion
No, the same way. There's not really much going on with this episode since last week.
I think there was a little bit going on here, but I think it was all just very like repetitive.
There's
It just,
no
it just felt like, especially in both groups, it felt like, because obviously tonight we get our double tribal council, so two people were eliminated, and we'll kind of get into some more details in just a little bit. But yeah, it definitely felt like the drama was just very much so like on both teams. It was like, oh,
uh,
person A is saying person B's name, well, person B is saying person C's name. Oh, well, person C said person A's name. It's like, well,
there's
it
just
just
names going out there for no reason.
a lot of circle, a lot of. I feel like I lost track a lot of what's
Mhm.
happening tonight here. But I feel like it maybe at least this could be a good starting point to kind of start off with the drama because at least after tonight's episode, they will officially be in one group. There'll be no more like splitting. There'll be no more twists. We'll officially have like
Yeah,
a
so
cohesive narrative moving forward. So um,
mhm.
hopefully things will kind of pick up from here. I think that's all we could kind of hope for, right?
Hopefully, I want more drama.
Well, I would say though, we could go ahead and kind of probably jump into things right away here because we start the episode with I thought was some pretty good drama, and I was actually very excited in the first like 2 minutes here because we learn that Venus realizes that after tribal council that she got a vote, and she blames it on soda, and immediately the two start going at it, and I'm just like, oh my god, yes, this is amazing, this is what we wanted.
Right? This is what we're looking for.
What are your thoughts on Venus here and all the drama that she's literally involved in Soda, she hates Hunter, she's mad at Kevin. What are your thoughts on Venus and how she's playing this game so far? Callie, you could start.
Uh, yeah. So for me, I don't know. I mean, you can hear it during our watch parties. I am so annoyed with her. And I think it also partially comes from the fact that the first person she kind of had drama or whatever, or a problem with was Hunter, who's one of my draft picks. So maybe that's when it started. But it's just like you said, every week she's into it with somebody. And I don't know, the more screen time she gets, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, somebody please vote her out."
Well,
Get it?
Painless Venus was your girl, so what you got to say?
She was. She was. But then Doug took her. So I have to pick Kenzie. No, yeah, she's been yapping around too much. Every single episode, she gets screen time. She blames different other players. So it's like, oh my god, you're doing too much for no reason.
No, Doug shared this week a couple of Venus's tweets, and even in her tweets, I'm like, oh my god, somebody shut her up.
Yeah, she was just going off Twitter.
Hmm.
She feels the kind of person to. I think it's just her age, because I feel like she wants to justify everything that she does, and sometimes you don't need to justify it. You also don't need to like blame other people either. And it
Hmm.
feels like she doesn't take. I think Maria said it tonight pretty well here. She lacks any sort of like self awareness, really, of
Hmm.
the ability to like read the room or read how people feel
Yep.
about a certain situation. And I mean, she starts out by calling Soda out right away. Like, what are you?
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
unfortunately, I will say that I was very disappointed because 2 minutes later, we do virtually get Charlie deciding to
Hmm.
tell Venus about the vote. Uh,
Yeah.
what were your thoughts on Charlie deciding to reveal this information?
I was kind of, I think it was Q that talked to him after. I was like, what, why? Like, what was the reasoning for doing that? And, I mean, Q, I feel like could have said it a different way, because after that, Charlie was like, oh, I don't know. Q thinks he's running the game. We've got to look out for him, maybe possibly put him up. But I mean, we were all thinking the same thing that Q was, and it wasn't a Q or general Survivor game. It was like, what? But why would you?
The cute game.
Not the
That's
Q
what he said.
game.
He's the worst.
I will say though, Q was definitely my voice at that time because I'm literally like,
Hmm.
I think he probably spoke for most of the audience here. 'Cause we're like, we literally have the most
Yep.
perfect blindside material. This it manifested itself. You didn't even need to do anything. It was
Hmm.
literally just handed to you on a silver platter, and you blew it up like that. But I mean, I don't think it changed much ultimately at the end of the day. But I was still sad because I felt like we could have had some fun fights this episode. I
I
Hmm.
think.
think I think what the Q does is just he overthinks stuff and then doesn't shut up. And it keeps running his mouth.
Q's not wrong though. Q generally has a point, but he definitely turns into like a soccer dad or a coach far too much here. Like I think he definitely was showing signs of like when he was trying to coach Banu with Charlie, and I
Hmm.
Yeah,
don't think you could do that to everybody. Charlie, I don't think is going to be receptive of that kind of action
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Hmm.
And I would say, other than that, we don't really get too much here from the start of the episode, other than there was a kind of a random scene. At least it felt random initially between Ben and Kenzie, where Ben woke up the morning with a panic attack, and Kenzie decides to kind of talk him through it and spends the morning with him, which I thought was kind of really sweet of Kenzie to do. It definitely seems like it's in her personality. She seems, like she kind of had a well she seemed nice at first to Banu until she lost it on him. But she seems like she is kind of actually taking a moment to step out of the game, and I think actually this moment could really benefit her moving forward to have this relationship with Ben, especially given they're both from tiny tribes now. Um, what were your guys' thoughts on this situation as it was kind of transpiring?
well, I think she really took time to, you know, something like a caring person would do. Like, even though it's a game, but in the day they're human, that they got stuff going on. But I think it will definitely benefits her moving on from the game if she can do that with everyone on the tribe.
Definitely for Ben, especially, that meant a lot to him. And so I think that maybe bonded them in a way that might benefit them further down the road. And Kenzie and Ben both really seem like the two types that will play the game with the most integrity. Like, I think in our episode of the podcast I was on, we talked about how with Banu, he didn't understand that there's a lot of strategy, right? And he really wanted to be super pure and have integrity and never lie and all of that. I feel like Ben and Kenzie both will keep their integrity. They won't, be malicious or anything in the game. But I mean, this really shows that both of them, I feel like, will play with integrity moving forward. And I think that that moment kind of bonded them in a way that we might see something further down the road, because there's obviously some reason why the edit was highlighted of this interaction.
Yeah,
Mhm. Mhm.
agreed.
Absolutely. And one thing that kind of for me that stuck out too is that one thing I think that has been a big feature of this season for whatever reason is the focus on duo relationships. Like we know a lot of pairs. We know the Charlie Maria obviously one. We know like Tiffany and Q, Tiffany and Kenzie. It feels like or even like Ben Charlie. Like I feel like this is the start of like the manifestation of like another very important relationship that is going to play a role throughout the rest of the season here. So I have been kind of back and forth on Ben throughout the season. He felt like he's been feeling far more important than the edit's been making him feel far more important than he's actually felt. I'm wondering if this is the start of where Ben's story kind of starts to take off now that he's kind of attached to Kenzie and where things could possibly run here with Ben moving forward.
Mhm.
Still don't know if I like him as a winner pick, but um,
I'm not definitely not one to pick, but he's still like far into the game.
I mean, we've seen stranger people win. Not to say Ben Strange or anything, you know what I mean. Gabler,
Okay.
Gabler. We're just gonna
Oh,
throw
Gabler,
Gabler.
the trauma.
Oh my
We've
god, not
we're in a
Gabler.
post Gabler society, y'all. Anything.
Same point.
Anything can happen.
He didn't have deserve to win, in my opinion.
I mean, if he ends up with the right people in the end, because I feel like something, especially this season that we've seen too, is there are again, a lot of power duos, but then there's a lot of like individuals who are like playing their own game, who are clearly, I don't think are going to be, getting votes in the end. Venus. Like if you could
Q.
get to the end with certain people, the right makeup of
Yeah.
people, you could get the win. So, he's still on my like very outside, like high tier of people that could possibly win, but like, I still have plenty of people far above Ben. I could already see
Exactly.
myself looking back at these podcasts and being like, wow, when Ben wins.
Yeah, if Ben wins, oh my god, it's rigged. It's like, of all people, Ben? Really?
Sponsored by Metallica.
Oh, jeez.
Well, y'all, it is time to get into our immunity challenge because, if you remember, it will be a double tribal council. So, as they like to do in the new era, they will be splitting up the cast into two groups and they will compete for individual immunity. Much like they did last year, the team that wins will also get a food reward and will also basically earn their spot in the jury, while the team that loses will have to vote first at tribal council, and that person that goes first will not be a part of the jury. What are your thoughts on the stakes of how they've kind of set it up? So usually they would run this challenge after the jury has already taken place. What do you think that is now that they kind of put the jury on the line here, given that it's such like a milestone? Do you think that would make you play a little bit harder, or do you think that changes anything at all?
No, I think it makes you play harder because it's different how they're doing it recently. Having like two votes out. Um, you have to be really competitive and win.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely thought that it would make them play harder. When the challenge was actually happening, I wasn't like too impressed. I don't know. I don't know if maybe it was the type of challenge or what, but I mean, also maybe the stakes weren't as high because they haven't been without food or fire or anything for that long. I feel like the jury placement would have made them play harder, but also I feel like they weren't in a state of like they've been starved or have been suffering enough that the challenge was interesting enough for me actually, you know?
So you wanted them to have less food.
Well,
You
yeah,
No
or
you
food
just
at
needed
or
to
all.
just
die.
really I
He said
needed
no
some
food at all.
drama. Yeah, and well, because when they were doing the challenge, it felt I don't know if it felt easy. I mean, I definitely don't think I could have done it, but I don't know, especially when Orange went down. They were the or they were the ones that kind of went down first and I was like, "Huh. Okay, well, I figured maybe they would have been a little bit longer." I don't know. I just didn't feel that kind of fight within all of them.
Yeah, no, just like whoever just dropped first. Okay, I'm jumping down. They didn't even care about the food, you know.
Mhm.
One
That's what like
thing.
Kenzie did. I think Kenzie would have stayed longer, but as soon as she saw Tiff go down in the water, she just went down with it too.
Mhm. I mean,
I don't
I
know
get
what
that.
Q was doing.
Mhm.
Doing the ABCs. The alphabet. What was that all about, Q? Come on.
Can we talk about that for a second? Because I've never played the alphabet game where you have to repeat the names before that. Like I've never done that before. I'm with the other people. I would just be going on with B or C. Like I've never had
Yeah,
Yeah.
to repeat the names before. So it's like, where's Q making up these rules?
Yeah,
it's the
there's a
Q game.
script.
Well,
It's
the
the
best
Q
part is though,
game.
is like even after he like explains the rules multiple times, people still can't get it. It's just
A
Poor
is for
Liz.
uh,
Atlanta, B Birmingham. No, start again. And then Hunter, A is for Atlanta, B
Baltimore.
Baltimore. But
Liz
honestly,
says.
I would not have played like how some of them, I think there were only like 3 people that were actively playing because I would have been concentrating real hard instead of trying to think of this
Yeah,
alphabet game.
oh
I
same.
think.
If I was still somehow in the challenge at that point,
Yeah.
because they've done this one in the past.
They did.
The triangle one is it's pretty a fairly common challenge. I don't know how often they've done it in the new era though. But it's gone like a number of ways. Like I think they showed the preview where in like season 42 they all fell in like the first like 2 seconds, and then we've had
Mhm.
a challenge if I remember back in like Survivor Game Changers. The reason why they had to go to 1 foot is because the 2 women that were standing up there in the immunity challenge were doing it for hours and they were never going to fall down. And they were the ones that suggested that they go to 1 foot so that way they could
Mhm.
resolve the challenge. So um,
Oh wow.
it's kind of it's definitely has its ups and downs here, but it felt like this group was very good at it for some reason. Like usually you get to the top and you
Mhm.
don't see this many people stand up. So I don't know if they're all surfers, they've all skateboarded in their past, maybe a lot of Tony Hawk,
Yeah.
I don't know, but, like, they were really good at this.
Yeah.
And the funniest part is when Liz was just getting annoyed by Q and she said see for Connecticut. He's like, no.
Do we think any of them are trolling on purpose? I think Charlie might have been trolling on purpose.
I think Charlie would might have.
Charlie might be
Because he was
slightly more.
laughing and knew.
Yeah, I think he's slightly more in on the joke than maybe we give him credit for here. Mr. Taylor Swift fan here. Um
Oh my god.
Swifty.
Oh jeez.
Well, although he tries with the alphabet game, unfortunately, Q is one of the first to fall off, along with Ben and Soda. And Q spends a lot of the time on the bench, making comments. But which was funny though, is because one of the comments he made was that when Jeff asked him for his opinion, he said his daddy said that if he's not in the fight, but not to say anything. But then he continues to talk.
Yeah.
um,
Like, oh, he was on something else.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm just like I feel like he's kind of like maybe he's just like an extrovert. Because I know there's some people that just like they get more energy the more they're around people, and like the more they're
Mhm.
like they have more people around, the more they can kind of like show off for them. Why do I
Mhm.
feel like
Yeah.
he's doing that right now? I feel like he's just being a show off. Like he can't his ego can't
Mhm.
help it. Like
It doesn't. His mouth doesn't stop moving. Keeps running.
Yeah.
it really
Yeah,
doesn't.
definitely probably yeah, his ego he just keeps talking, trying I don't know like if he was maybe trying to like poke at people to make them fall. I mean, I don't really know what his gameplay was, but I mean, whether it's the challenge or not at the challenge, he's been talking way too much and I'm like, "Oh
We need a mute button on his
gosh."
on key.
Yeah, Q needs to calm down a little bit. I'm
Yeah.
like all of those things I was afraid of when I saw his preseason, just about his personality in general, have been on full force these last few episodes, and it's just like the downfall is coming, and it's not gonna be cute. Maybe cute with a Q. Ooh. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That the Q. I can't with you, Q. Um,
No one can. He's like the next boss. If you left, he misses Bonnet, so he's gonna be just like one.
Oh
it's kind of
no.
ironic if you think about like the fact he was trying to teach Banu, right? And it's like he's doing just as bad.
Yeah. Without knowing though, I think he thinks it's like Q's world, like Charlie said, he thinks he's running all the games and strategy and he's in the power. But I don't think he sees where he's coming across as like wishy-washy himself, you know?
Mm-mm. Yeah, and we will learn a little bit more here about Great Q and his wishy-washiness here because eventually on both sides it comes down to a two-person race. We see Kenzie and Tiff on one side, Kevin and Maria on the other. Well, when Tiff goes down, Kenzie immediately drops afterwards because she basically wins immunity, guarantees herself safety, and then doesn't have to do anything else anymore. So then we get a face off here between Tevin and Maria, and they're both looking really good until Tevin starts to struggle. He has one really amazing save, which I was like, how did he even just like yoga pose himself into whatever he just did while he was on that thing on one foot?
Yeah.
That was an info.
Like,
Balance.
yeah, that was impressive. That was impressive.
I thought he was gonna win after that.
I was kind of hoping that I mean, he deserved something for that. He deserved a cookie at least. Like, that was just, that was crazy. Like, that was cool. Like, go Kevin. Go Tevin. I call him Kevin. Um, but, fortunately, he doesn't get nothing for it though, because Maria ends up outlasting him and gets the individual immunity. So, that leaves us basically going into our tribal council here, where again our two groups of six will be separated. The winning group will go back to camp where they will enjoy their food reward, while the losers go back to the old Siga Beach. And our losers, if you remember here, will be the group of Orange, who will go to tribal council first and vote out the last non-juror of the game, and that will be between Ben, Hunter, Q, Tiffany, and Tim, with Kenzie being immune. So we learn immediately when we get back to camp that, hey y'all, Q didn't suck at that challenge. He threw it to test loyalty. Well,
Mhm.
Q is the master of saying one thing and then being like, hold up, just kidding, it's another. I'm like,
Like make up your mind.
like, just like he said, oh yeah, I want to quit. I did it to throw doubt in Kenzie's mind. I didn't want to quit.
Mhm. Sure about that?
I'm like, you are you saying it to try to convince us, or are you trying to convince yourself?
No one.
But I mean, I do kind of see his point to some degree, though, because if you look at the makeup of the six people that ended up in his group, they do have five of the six people that are supposed to be in the giant plus one alliance here. At this point, Ben would be the only person who would be left on the outside and should be the obvious vote according to the if the alliance was to actually, be solid and move forward as a thing. Tim, however, does not want that. Tim is very clear that he wants Anami out to keep the Sega numbers, and he pretty much is ready to get rid of Hunter. He's ready to get rid of the biggest physical threat in the game. And there's a difference of opinion between Q and Tim here as they discuss back and forth about what strategy or who should really be the vote and the target tonight. And eventually, Q ends this conversation not happy because Tim wants to play Sega's game, not the Q game. What were your thoughts on all this going on here between how Tim was basically still, just like last week, refusing to kind of, be a little bit malleable with his numbers, and
Mhm.
pretty much kind of, flat out saying, no, I'm not doing this.
Mhm. I mean, definitely it was, I mean, from last week and this week, I mean, something's got to give. You can't be so like hard set in what you want because that's not, how it goes. This is a strategy game, but it's also a social game, right? So you need to be able to have a strategy, but also know how to kind of work with or play um, against other players. And I don't think he fully understood that concept. And you know, going into this, something was going to have to give.
Mhm.
What would you have done if you were in his position there, Painless? Do you think you would have been able to give Ben up, or would you fought for the numbers here?
I I want to fight for the numbers, to be honest. If you want to play smart and play your game, you have to do it for the numbers.
So you're not gonna play the Q game? You're going down with the Sega
I
ship?
wouldn't. I'm never gonna play the Q game.
Painless is going to betray us all just for the numbers to stay. Wow. My
Like,
dream
you
was
know what?
correct. He's going to switch up on us.
We figured it out. Painless is the traitor. He is the traitor. And Absa,
I'm
but
not
mostly
playing no
Painless.
Q game. Oh, because I think like, now you know what? I'm going to this side. I'm just doing for the number.
Wow.
Start playing the
Switch
Q
up.
game. We'll switch over quick.
Well, you know what? Tim is basically then you, Painless, because Tim ain't gonna switch up. And Tim wants to keep Sega. So when it comes down to it, and they're trying to kind of discuss what's happening here, um, Yanu doesn't really like the fact that Tim is not budging, and Tim is refusing to kind of acknowledge the plus one alliance's, importance at all whatsoever here. But then at the same time, too, it seems like there is definitely some conflict between which of the Segas that the old Yanu and Hunter, who will now be voting together at some point here, who they're going to target because initially it seems like they want to target Ben, but then it seems like the target shifted to Tim after Q's conversation with him. But then Q has a conversation with Ben about what he would do in the event of the votes coming down here, and he kind of makes it uh, quite apparent like he doesn't have an idol. So that makes Q now want to switch back to Ben because that would mean that they could get the votes off on him and there would be no threat of an idol.
Mhm.
But you know what? At this point, Tiffany and Kenzie are done. They cannot handle the flip flopping. They cannot handle the back and
Yeah.
forth. They cannot.
I mean, I want
They're
to
done.
handle that. I'll be like, you're out of the group. Like, bye.
I would look at him literally dead in his eye and just be straight and be like, "Okay, Banu," and just leave it at that, and just walk away.
Right. That's
Just let
it.
him think on that.
Uh,
Just be like, "Oh, oh, yeah, I am fucking up, aren't I? Yep, yes, you are."
well, you are. You better get it
Yes.
together.
Because I don't think they ever pitched it, but this is definitely foreshadowing here. Tiffany and Kenzie will be sacrificing Q when they best need to.
Yep.
They will not be going down with the Q shit.
I
No,
don't, yeah.
definitely. I
Yeah,
wouldn't either.
definitely.
You say, okay, at some point he's gotta go. It could be tomorrow, it could be the next week, but you gotta go.
The trash is getting stinky. It's got to go out eventually. You know what? he was getting a little stinky here. Um, Thankfully for him, though, does not affect him this tribal council. Because going into this vote between this group, it seems pretty clear that it's either Hunter or Ben or Tim. Did you have a sense, one way or another, how things were kind of going to be shaking up going into this vote?
For me, I was actually surprised that it ended up being who it was. Um, just because uh I thought going into it, it was for sure going to be between the two that were obviously the ones that there was a lot more conversation about, which were Ben and Hunter. So going into it, I was like, okay, it's going to be Ben or Hunter. And I was scared because Hunter's my draft pick.
You mean my draft pick that you stole from me?
I didn't see Hunter leaving.
Really? I was scared.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, it's either I was either it's either Q for me or Benton.
Mm.
Yeah, I was leaning Tim initially going into it just based on the fact that I've just been waiting for Tim's name to kind of get brought up again.
Hmm.
After the first time it kind of was brought up as a target, and because that just feels like all his edit is really, kind of been the substance to his edit has just kind of been, or based off of what has happened at the time, and not anything like um there was no grand master plan that we got from Tim. Like we
Hmm.
saw no long term game. It was all what was happening in the moment. And
Hmm.
so at that point, I was like, okay, it's probably going to be Tim. But for some reason, this tribal council was really emotional. Like there was a bunch of crying. Ben was crying. Kenzie was crying. I heard Painless was crying.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I heard you, Painless. I heard you. You thought you were
Hmm.
muted, but you weren't. I heard you. And
No,
so,
I was not gonna be crying over a game.
well, I figured since everybody was crying here that there was some sense, especially with Kenzie and Ben. I was like, well, they just had their bonding moment. We're gonna have a nice, touching story that Ben was like this really sweet guy and he got screwed over in the end, and blah 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 blah. So I thought at that point I was like, is it gonna be Ben? But no. Ultimately, while Hunter does get 2 votes, he does not play his idol, which turns out to be good for him because the other 4 votes are cast on Tim, and sadly, my first draft pick is now out of the game for the
And not
jury.
even in the jury.
Can't
Ooh.
even date Tim. Good thing he's married already because he can't be dated. 'Cause he can't make the jury. So good thing he's married. But
Cannot make it to the jury.
what are our final thoughts here on Tim? Because like I said, honestly, this guy got shafted in the edit so bad. Like I feel like I do not
Hmm.
know anything about him whatsoever. Other than the fact that he's a dad.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't even know what was his strategy to begin with. Like, what was he gonna do?
Mhm.
We didn't even know Tim the half of the first episode, second, until later on.
Well, now we
Yeah.
know why.
And I know, right? And it felt like I was surprised. Like I was like, "Oh, thank goodness it's not Hunter, but oh, okay, Tim." But like you said, like we didn't really get to know him, so I was kind of like, you know, okay, bye. We can move forward now.
Right, it's like an easy choice.
Yeah, after definitely after like kind of like re-looking at things again, after thinking about it after the episode's been over, Ben definitely had a lot more plot points to be kind of shored up here, and especially now with this Kenzie storyline started up. Tim didn't really have anywhere to
Mhm.
go, so um, yeah, sorry, Tim. It kind of sucks to go out before the jury, like right before the jury starts,
Yeah.
and especially to get the kind of shaft he did on the way out with his edit. Um, but hopefully he enjoyed the experience. And you're welcome for still
That's
being. I still picked you, Tim, so you're welcome. But we still have one more vote because the turbans or the people on the purple tribe have to go to their vote as well too. And just to remember y'all, that would be the other half of the tribe with Charlie, Liz, Maria, Soda, Kevin, and Venus. And Maria is the one holding the immunity necklace. And I don't know why it didn't dawn on me until like a few minutes into this that there was no people from Purple in this group, and it was literally just orange versus green here. Um,
Mhm. Yeah.
and so we kind of get a split really of for orange versus Charlie and Maria. At least it would seem uh, that Charlie would be doomed. Did you think Charlie was doomed right away? Like, were you going to be like, okay, hopefully this is Taylor Swift's last song, whatever her last song is on her album?
I
Um,
really don't like Charlie, so like if he was going to be out, like I would have been cool with it.
but why don't you like Charlie Plains? I need to know why.
I think it's how he is in general.
Mm,
Just
'cause he's a Swiftie is the truth.
that's not that's not because he's a Swifty
It's
or
what he
not.
believes in and who he
Mhm.
stands for and everything about his
Something
personality.
about him, something about him is just like okay, no.
I don't think I was worried for him. And I think the reason being is because him and Maria are a pretty solid duo. And so I figured he would be safe. I figured he might get one vote maybe, but I didn't think that he was going to be going home this week.
Yeah, I wasn't really too worried for Charlie here either, especially with the setup when we got in the beginning of the episode with the Soda versus Venus shenanigans. Um,
Mhm.
there was a slight part of me that was like, okay, well, maybe are we gonna get like a replay of last vote where like Venus tries to vote out Charlie and everybody else just votes for Venus? It was like, is that what we're gonna get here? Um, no, no, um, because literally Nami has been waiting for the moment to get to vote, and they are ready. They're ready to take each other out because literally
Seriously.
the events go as such. Asoda starts us off here, deciding that they're going to say to everybody that they're voting for Charlie, but they actually want to vote for Venus. Well, Kevin loves that idea, but instead of voting for Venus, he and Liz want to vote for Soda. And while all this is going on too, Venus wants Charlie and Maria to, while their votes are all split between the other two targets, to cast their vote for a third target, Kevin. Like,
What?
What is going on with this tribe?
Yeah.
how did
I
they
mean,
win?
I I think Venus this week was definitely trying to pull at anything that she could. Just because she was kind of on the outs out of the groupings, you know, because she had one vote last week, she could have been in jeopardy of being voted out, and then just also because of the numbers, right? And so she was trying to pull at anything. I definitely don't think that she could pull the Tevin blind side, but who knows? I felt maybe she could pull off the soda one.
I feel like almost in any other world, Venus might have been able to pull off the Tevin blindside had it not been for the plus one alliance that Maria didn't even know she was in last episode, that she now suddenly apparently is taking seriously here because as soon as she hears Tevin's name, she's like, I can't trust Venus. I can't do it. And I'm like, well, wait, you weren't even aware of this alliance last week, and now it's like it's a thing. Like, okay.
Mhm.
Um, so now that throws another question that I'm gonna have here for Maria, because obviously she doesn't know going into this vote that they just got rid of Tim, who was supposed to be her link in the plus one. So how is she even going to react next week when she finds out that Tim's gone? Like, is this even gonna matter? Is this even gonna be a plot point? Do you think they're even gonna bring this up?
But was was her
How
also number one like partner? Who's like that was working together. Um, because the last time Tim said like he was closest to Maria, but was he though?
Yeah, was he? I was like,
Yeah.
really?
I mean, we'll never
I
know
think,
because we never heard Tim's thoughts on what he was thinking in at this
but like,
moment. We don't know if
well,
he was throwing out a fake name to
Throw everybody
appease
off.
them, or like if he really thought, like, I mean, I guess he said in one of his confessionals that he thought him and Maria were tight. Um,
Mhm.
but I mean, from Maria's perspective, she thought Tim and Ben were tight. But then again, we also get that Ben and Charlie were tight too. So it's like maybe it's possible that while Ben and Charlie are hanging out, Tim thought that he was tighter with Maria at that point. Um, I don't know.
True.
There's
Yeah.
we there's Tim's lack of edit here is affecting us so much here.
Yeah, I already know. Who is Tim? Do we know
Well,
Tim? Oh no.
well, good thing is we won't have to talk about Tim for rest of the season at least,
Yeah.
though.
No,
So
no need.
He's
He's
done,
done.
son.
unless you can get a
He's
spot
done.
in
Get
the
out of here.
reunion. Oh, it's so sad, so sad. Um, but when we get to everything that's going on here with the Russian roulette of names, did you have a sense in your mind where anything was going here? Because I definitely personally kind of got the sense, okay, well, Maria is not going to do Tevin. It won't be Tevin.
Hmm. Yeah.
It seemed almost at that point that it could have been Venus, but
Hmm.
it for me, if I'm looking into the edit, it felt like there was no way that Soda was ever going to survive a vote between her and Venus. Like if it came down between those two, it was going to be Soda that left.
Really? I definitely thought that it was down to Soda and Venus, but I thought Venus would have been the one voted out. I don't know.
Well, a lot of it's because the like in the pre-merge, we've had a lot of the situation like the idol, where they
Hmm.
show the idol or giving the idol to Venus, and then Soda takes it. Like it's like why
Yeah.
else are you showing us all these small little random situations about Soda?
Yeah, true.
In situation with Venus, when I feel like we weren't supposed to maybe be rooting for Venus, but then it's like you're showing her in a light now. We are supposed to be rooting for her. I don't. I'm so confused. The narrative in this season is just so all over the place.
Yeah.
Painless, did you have a thought one way or another between Venus or Soda? Or did you think it could be Tevin?
No, I think it was gonna be Venus. I think like when she was like getting like more talked about, but I guess she has really great influence, like talking and communicating to people. That got that shifted to Soda.
Funny, because I actually don't think it was Venus that shifted it to Soda. I think it
Yeah,
was
it was
Tevin.
Tevin.
I think
No,
it was
yeah,
Tevin.
Hmm.
Tevin. Yeah,
Um,
Tevin. Just
but
got everything out there for no
I
reason.
did you notice at Tribal Council though? Tevin didn't vote for Soda.
Yeah,
Hmm.
surprisingly, he voted
He
for
voted for
Venus.
Venus.
Like, was that like as soon as it was like going to tribal that he like switched up? He told like Soda, "I'm gonna vote for Venus." Like you know, I don't
We
know.
need voting confessionals or something
I
like in Australian
know.
Survivor.
Yeah,
So we
we
need
need
the
to.
thought process because it makes sense that he would do it to kind of like just like oh I didn't know and hope to try to maybe get a jury vote, but at the same time though like explain why, tell us,
Yeah.
give us something. Cal, did you
And
have
I
any
don't know. Is
thoughts?
he well, yeah, no, and I don't know. I don't know like is he thinking that far ahead? Like you said, we need the confessional because I was like, "Really? I need to know
Hope
the reasoning behind it because he doesn't seem like I don't know. I don't think that he's playing strategically that he thought like, "Oh, if I just don't put her name down since she's the first jury, I could get her vote." Because there's still a lot of gameplay left uh between now and the end that each week the jury can find out something new and their decision would shift. So I don't even know if he's thinking that far ahead strategically, but I don't know
Um,
because they don't let us talk to them.
it,
Tell us.
it's like I get actually I'm trying to get it from like a strategic perspective because okay the idea here would be you're framing everybody else in the group, but now doesn't that kind of set you apart? Like I we can kind of jump ahead to like the next time on Survivor. Um, stuff. But if I remember correctly, wasn't there like an argument between Liz? Like, was Liz yelling at somebody or mad about something?
I,
Um, I feel like she could be mad that Kevin tried to like place the blame on her for this when they were supposed to be doing it together.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
Like,
I saw that in the preview. Like she was like, "Tell him shut up" or something.
okay, that's right. Yeah, she did. She did. She named him.
yeah,
She named him. That's
yeah,
right. Yeah. Um, could
yeah.
Liz be Tevin's downfall?
Well, I think Tevin after what he did, just going around telling like everyone who to vote, I think it kills his plan, his his game. No one's gonna trust him. No one's gonna believe him.
I feel like Maria might believe him.
You think so?
I mean, they worked together for this vote.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah,
It's
but he did not vote for Tim.
well,
Like if he did,
yeah, they were because Tim wasn't at that tribal council.
I mean,
Hello.
I mean,
Oh no 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 no! You are right though. You are right though. He did not vote for Soda though. So
yeah,
you
sorry,
are right.
there
You
you
are
go.
right. You are right.
Yeah,
You are right. Yeah, you're right.
true, Tim.
So yeah, I mean, wow, like, mm, yeah.
Yeah, but
I wonder if this could be that move that starts to get Tevin's downfall here too. Like, ugh. I mean, this is about the time. This is I mean, final what 10 now after this. So
Yeah.
this is going to be the time
yeah,
where you're not going to have anywhere to run. Um,
Mm-hmm.
do y'all have any thoughts
sounds
on
pretty
who
easy.
could be our next to go now that we're officially down to, one vote, one tribe, no splits?
Hmm.
Who do you think
I
could be most vulnerable here?
the obvious pick is get Q out of there,
Mm-hmm. I agree.
but like a blind side, I would say like towards Maria game, Charlie to go home,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why everything will be heating up. Like more drama will happen.
Mhm. I definitely think too, yeah, Q, and then of course Venus are my next two that I feel like that I would want to go home. But I feel like how Painless is saying it's gonna start warming up, heating up soon. I think it might even be Hunter that might be in jeopardy because, like we discussed a couple weeks ago, he's a very strong challenge player. He's a strong player and just in general. And so I think that slowly everyone's starting to notice that. I mean, like, look, even just this week alone, it was kind of highlighted out there. So I feel like even though I want Q and Venus to be the next ones to be going home, I feel a little scared for my Hunter.
Like, can we talk about Hunter? Why it showed him on top of a tree?
I
Like,
know.
why? Like,
Preview.
why he got up there? Like, why?
I don't know if he's trying to do
Seriously,
like the new like Tony Vellaccio Spice Shack where he was up in the air and spying on people. Like he might be trying to bring that back. I'd be here for it. I love a Tony Vellaccio reference. Um,
like, what are
but
you doing, man?
yeah, that was random.
Yeah, that was so random. Like, what are you doing?
It's just like all the things we did not expect
Like,
to pan to.
how you even get up there? Like a tall ass tree. Like how he got up there and just stood there and just
As
like
long as you don't
what?
pull a Matthew and
Wrong with
just
that?
tumble out of it on his way down and
Oh
injure
my gosh,
himself.
and break yourself. Seriously.
If he does, that's his fault for climbing trees.
Wow. That's
Like
on you.
it's on you. You're the one who decided to climb my trees for no damn reason. You just wanted to.
Well, I'll be real. I do think Hunter is going to likely be a big focus for the remainder of the season. I don't understand how he's not going to be. But the fact he has his idol, the fact that he's probably the best at challenges, and he also has probably like Q out there to kind of use as a shield for a little bit too. I'm not as worried for Hunter. I think Hunter actually could still be um in the end game. Um, Not sure if he's gonna be one of my winner picks tonight. Mostly because tonight we will be going down to two picks. because of the merge. We won't be doing 3 no more. We'll be doing 2. Uh, so I do kind of think as the numbers dwindle down, there is going to be a focus on, pairs. There's going to be a focus on the big challenge threats. There's going to be a focus on
Mhm.
Q because he's not going to be able to shut up. Um,
Yup.
so, I think Q definitely comes in as probably the most obvious target, but I think
Yes,
Tevin
definitely.
is definitely going to be somebody that I'm going to be worried about, being the fact that he is linked so closely to Hunter. And if they can't get
Mhm.
Hunter, who are they going to get? The
Yep.
next
I
man
couldn't.
over. So
Mhm.
I'm still at my mindset here that Orange is our final bosses, the people that will be needed to take out through our winner to kind of get by here. Um, but let's go ahead and talk about our winner picks here. Um, and I'll start first, like I do every week, and I will use the name that I do every week here because I still have not been convinced otherwise in a season of inconsistent narratives, of people crying one day and becoming heroes the next, and having random side stories that show up out of nowhere. The only person who has given me the same consistency in their edit the entire way through is Tiffany. Now, I will say we are 7 episodes through, and I don't feel like I know her any better. Like, I feel like I know everything about her gameplay and what she stands and what likely moves she's going to make, but I need to get some personal content. We need
Oh.
something to to bond and grow her to the audience here because right now she ain't getting nothing, and it feels like she only pops up to kind of like to say like no Q, that's not what's happening, and that's it. But
Yeah, she's not really getting a lot of screen time.
she's not at all, and it's
Yeah.
worrying me. But it's consistently positive, and that's the only thing that it's still making me think that it's possible. Like out of everybody else here that has like red flags, she doesn't have any to me, other than the fact that it's just there's I need more. So,
Mhm.
um, this is just me asking the editors. Please go ahead if Tiffany's the winner, just show her a little bit more, okay? Just a teeny bit more, okay? Would appreciate it. Thank
And if
you.
she doesn't get any screen time, she's not gonna be the winner.
Ooh,
Imagine
or it
she
could come
being even get
later.
purple after this. I mean, it's true. You only need one personal scene, and it could be a situation where we're leading up to it, like, because it definitely seems eventually she's going to have to choose between Kenzie and Q. Maybe it could be a situation where they're leading up to give us that personal content on that episode, so we really feel the emotion that episode.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Maybe
I mean,
we
is
will say.
Tiffany any of y'all top twos picks?
Yeah, she's still mine from back when you and I had the podcast. Definitely same thing. She's the only one that's been consistent. I'm also thinking between Charlie and Maria, one of them might make it pretty far after seeing uh this episode. I know during our watch party I had asked because Venus, it didn't seem like she knew how close Maria and Charlie were. So I'm trying to gauge if everybody else knows how close they are. Uh, so this episode for me, I kind of was like, maybe one of them could get pretty far and if it comes down to it, depending also who else is in the final three, who knows, one of them might win.
You edge out one over the other.
I think maybe Maria over Charlie. But that's also because Maria's my pick.
I think I would agree. If between the two, I think I've always been more Maria than Charlie.
Mhm.
Charlie gets a good edit. Don't get me wrong. He has a good edit. But it also kind of also errs on the side of like comedian a little bit more, like like especially like a lot of the like the Taylor Swift, versus Metallica stuff with
Oh
Ben.
my
Yeah.
god.
Um, seems more comic relief than or maybe like a comedian with some strategy here, whereas Maria feels like every single time she's on the screen she is giving us winner content kind of. When they show her,
Mhm.
I feel like they don't show her very often. I feel like she's kind of like Tiffany too, like she kind of pops up when they need her there, but I don't feel
Mhm.
like they go out of their way to show Maria.
Yeah.
Painless, what you thinking over there? Who you winner? Who's your winner picks here?
I would say Kenzie and Maria.
Okay. Let's start with Maria because we're already kind of talking about Maria a little bit here. What about Maria you like here?
uh, she's playing a really great game. Like even at the challenge, she wasn't even like where like he was doing his whole alphabet thing. She was just focused on in the game. She did not care. She just there to win, and that gives a lot to say. Like she came here to to win and to compete. She
Hmm.
didn't care about any stuff that was going around. She was just focused up. And then with Kenzie, I say that she know how to like talk to people, and so I think by that she would go in there, follow there to the game and win
Hmm. Um, I will.
and get the picks, and get their
I-
like jury picks to win.
I'll second you
So
on that. Um,
okay,
Kenzie is officially my number two pick at this time. Um, officially. Um, her edit these last two episodes have just been really good. She's had so much focus this episode, and it makes me a little nervous that what happened to Tribal Council because if y'all will remember, her whole thing has been how much of a threat she is and how she's like the mastermind, which we haven't heard anybody talk about that, which I think could be a good thing. But it also kind of just flashes me back, okay, well, why are they making such a big deal about it if it's not ultimately going to like, do anything? Well, because it's part of her storyline. Like she's getting all the personal content that I want Tiffany to be getting. Like
yeah,
she's able to relate everything back to either her job or her life in some way or another, and that's a sign of a great winner. I mean, like Dee last season relating everything back to her family or the American dream, things like that, or her toe. Like there's
toe, the
well, it's
toe.
personal content. Her toe was her personal content. We was that something personal about her that we learned that came back to assist her in the game. Like as soon as the toe thing happened, I was like, okay, Dee's winning. Like
Yeah,
there's no way they're gonna
she
bring up
won the
this toe
challenge.
thing if it's not important.
She won the challenge with the toe.
Yeah, and what happened? She won the challenge with the toe. So it's like it's if it's not relevant, they're not gonna bring it up. And so it's like it's just very much so like I'm like if Tiff got more personal content, I would be like without a doubt 100% on her. But Kenzie is getting all of that, so I have to really like okay. If I'm still getting a good vibe from Tiff, it's probably because someone close to Tiffany is probably going to be winning, and it's probably I could see it being Kenzie here. Um, I I I don't want to give Painless another win. I don't want to give him another draft win, but only reason I'll be okay with that is
Hey,
because I did name
hopefully.
Kenzie as one of my Yas bitch seals of approval at the start of the season, so I'll be fine. It'll be okay. Um, but yeah, honestly, I think the Tiffany, Kenzie, and Maria with the outside chance of Hunter, I think those would be the four right now that I'm watching for sure.
No, we will see.
We will see. We will see if Kenzie brings home another,
Yes.
another, another draft win for Painless. It's undeserved.
Wow.
3 in a row.
Because she's
No,
so
only two.
funny.
Only two.
Oh yeah, only two.
Only two. We don't count the Traders one because of the trash.
Oh yeah, the
We don't
trade.
count that. We don't count that.
We want only the survivor here, so that would be 2 in a row,
Yeah. Yeah.
back to back. Hopefully she wins.
Well, yeah, we've been going for almost an hour here, so we could probably start to wrap things up because I think we touched on a lot of tonight here. But we're starting to get down to our final few people. Things are starting to ramp up as far as strategy goes, and hopefully things will get a little more exciting and dramatic moving forward. So we can have a fun last half to the season because I feel like the
Yeah.
season deserves it. And I
Oh,
feel
definitely.
like something, especially with this stuff in this tree, something's coming. Something's
Yes.
coming.
More drama, please.
Yes, more drama,
More, more
please.
arguing, more arguing.
Yeah. They gave us too much in the beginning and now it's not enough, so we need that
Yeah.
even amount of drama.
Well, for
And
today, it wasn't too much. It was just
Yeah.
I felt like today was
Not
all
enough.
right. Today was all right. We had some good moments. The
Yeah.
Soda Venus stuff was pretty good. Like I keep forgetting that we opened the episode with like just so much potential. And yeah, it got snuffed immediately, but like so much
Yes.
potential. So much potential. Um well, before we finish up, y'all, do you have any final thoughts until next time we meet again?
No, I'm excited to see next week because that preview was a cliffhanger, so.
yeah. I want to see what happens. Hopefully, it
Well, let's
goes
hope
well.
Hunter.
'Cause I think I have a feeling Q, since we got the Q edit on the preview. I think he's really pissed. No one did the Q game and go with Hunter. So I want to see that. Uh, so I'll go
Yeah.
down
Yeah.
with also with Ben and Kenzie, because Ben was shocked that Tim left.
Mhm.
So we will
I'm,
see.
I want to see Maria's reaction too. I want to see if it even
Yes,
matters. There's
yeah.
there's,
If he
there's
really
actually
acknowledge
some
acknowledge
good
that, if he
threads
does
that
it,
there's some good storylines here actually that could have potential. So let's pray, let's hope,
yeah.
and let's hope next time we meet again here we'll be just excited with what happened in the blind side that we got here because I feel like they're leaning towards something. Survivor always leads towards something. Um, they're generally pretty good about having their edits be pointed. So let's hope they're
Mhm.
pointing us in a good direction here. And yeah, so that was episode several, which is funny. Did we hear anybody? But by the way, can we talk about it? Did anybody say episode several or anything about several tonight? I don't think I heard it tonight. But
No, I
No,
don't think
I don't
so.
think so.
Shout
that's
out Zelensky.
unfortunate. Unfortunate. But best episode title. Such a great episode title. Oh, so good.
even even though Zelensky got voted out first, like his quote made it out
Crowed.
there.
Well,
Wow. You know what? So
Oop.
on that note,
let's wrap it
On that note.
up.
well, yeah, it's been amazing hanging out with y'all tonight. We'll definitely be switching people in and out as the rest of the season goes here. We'll make sure we'll do another dual podcast. Maybe we'll get y'all together here together, or maybe we'll figure out something else that we can do a little bit later on here. So to get everybody in together. So
Yeah.
appreciate y'all again, Callow and Painless, for hanging out and chatting Survivor again tonight. And I
Thanks
hope
for having me
everybody,
again.
of
Yeah.
course,
Bye.
anytime. Don't say bye yet. We ain't leaving yet.
Oh, I
At
thought we
least
said
not for
bye.
Going.
another second yet.
Oops.
Girl, what
Still
you on
gotta say,
about?
we still gotta say our outro to everybody, right? Because we gotta say thank you to everybody who's listening tonight. Hope you had fun. If you enjoyed the podcast, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe for more content because there will be more stuff coming, much more tea to spill in the future. And do you agree with what we were talking about tonight? Are you enjoying the season? Let us get some discussion going because I think we are on the cusp of what could be a very exciting end to this pre-merge. So, on behalf of Callow and Painless, I am Renegade, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!